This is Hominid Origins for Rise of Civilization, Part 3. Okay, we know that with the Australopithecines, we were more bipedal. Now, under no stretch of the imagination were we walking really fast. We were actually going pretty slow. We could barely walk. And the question is, what did we gain? What did we lose when we became bipedal? Well, we lost speed, but we gained endurance. Now, the other thing is they could stand up, look for prey around them, but don't forget, what we're going to talk about here in a second is that they did not have tools. They're 3 foot high and could barely walk. They were prey. They were saber-toothed cats. There have actually been found Australopithecine skulls with saber-toothed cat canines going through the skulls. So we were prey. But what we think the big thing is that we did gain by becoming bipedal is we could carry things in our arms. Before that, we couldn't. What did they use for tools? The politically correct answer is that, as far as we know, they did not make tools. Now, that's not to say that they didn't use sticks, that they didn't throw rocks, but we don't find any stone tools being manufactured at this time. So they didn't really have tools that we see any evidence of. And last but not least, this is what we mean by inference in some of these TV shows. This came right from the television show. If you look, it's hard to read, but it says, older offspring took a keen interest in new infants and often acted as babysitters. Now, from 4 million years ago? I don't think so. So this is the kind of stuff that they add into these television shows because they think people want to hear this baloney, excuse my language. Now here, this is really interesting. They actually found a couple of years ago a baby Australopithecine found near Hadar in Ethiopia. The other thing, that's what you need to know, Lucy was found in Hadar, which is the name of the site, by Donald Johanson. And here they find this little Australopithecine. So on the backdrop of the left, you see a male Australopithecine. On the right, you see Lucy. And then you see the baby underneath. Kind of cool. Here's a picture of some of the skull fragments that they found, as well as teeth. They think the baby was about 3 years old. And here is a picture of it kind of glued together after they hacked it out of all the sediments. Okay, Laetoli is another important site for Australopithecines. Your book talks about it, so you might want to look that up. So for Australopithecines, you have Hadar and Laetoli. Here's a picture of where it was. If a little anthropological trivia, where did Lucy get her name? Well, as the story goes, they were listening to the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and that's where she got her name when she was found. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Now, one of your assignments is going to be to find out who Piltdown Man was. So, without getting into too much detail, a point to remember is that the Australopithecines have been found in East Africa and South Africa. The ones found in East Africa are more gracile, meaning that they're thinner boned, much more delicate. The ones found in South Africa are bigger boned. So what they've done is they call the ones in East Africa Australopithecus afarensis, and the ones in South Africa, Australopithecus africanus. I'm not sure why, but that's just the way they did it. And so Raymond Dart found what was called the town child, South Africa. This was a Australopithecus africanus baby. Now, the other thing that we're going to talk about is cranial capacity. So again, understand that Australopithecines, very small cranial capacity, about 400 cubic centimeters. That's what the CC stand for. And again, you might want to look at who Piltdown Man was. There's a picture. And here's a picture of the players. Okay, going up the evolutionary ladder, we have Homo habilis. So the question that I ask my students is, what is the most important thing you should remember about Homo habilis? What did we see with Homo habilis that we've never seen before? Well, what you should know is tool use. Okay. And with the discovery of tools, we enter the Paleolithic. Lithic means stone. Paleo means old. So we have entered the Stone Age. Again, from 2.2 to 1.5 million years ago. What's the name of the tools that Homo habilis used? We called them Oldowan, from an area where they found the earliest specimens of Homo habilis. What kind of tools were they? Well, they didn't look like much. Basically, they took a rock, banged another rock against it until it got sharp, and that was their tool. So again, we are not great hunters at this stage of the game by any stretch of the imagination. We're barely walking, and this time we're running around with a rock. But the tool is called Oldowan. If you look at this, the size of the brain, though, so our brain's getting bigger, 650 cubic centimeters. What you should remember is the bigger the brain gets, the more protein is needed. The main site for Homo habilis is Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, and the Leakeys are the ones that discovered Homo habilis. So let's see here. Here's a picture of Louis Leakey with a 1960 mock-up of what he would have looked like, meaning Homo habilis.